Hello again. I have had some requests on how to bind your bubble quilt, so I would like to do a quick tutorial on how to do that. First, what I did was I sewed on just some lengths of fabric on all four sides. It makes it a little easy to work with, and I just think it looks nice. Of course, I did purple on that side, and then I've got the rainbow fabric on both. Alright, the way I do it is I take a duck cloth or duck fabric, like a canvas type, this is denim, and lay it out flat, and then you can lay your bubble quilt on top of it. And then what I do is I pin this section here, not the edge. I'll pin the edge as well, but first I pin the inside here all the way around, and when you pin it, when I pin it, I pull it like this, because see how it's kind of, look over here, see how it's kind of bunchy and it just doesn't really lay flat. So when you pin it, you have to pull a little bit. Two-hand job to get that. Let's see. Alright, let's see if this works. You have to pull it a little bit and kind of pull out. Pull the, watch out for the pins, they're sharp. Pull the bubbles and kind of stretch them out a little bit, because where you've sewn them all, it's really kind of bunchy. And you don't have to pin it as much as I do. I like to pin a lot because for me, the more pins, the less chance of it getting a wrinkle or a crease in it. So I do like to overpin sometimes. Alright, there's that one over here. Now let's pull this again and see how when can you see? See how when I do pin it, it does flatten out a lot better. So let's go ahead and pull it. I'll show you one more. Kind of pull it and pull the bubbles down a little bit like that, and then just pin another one here. Alright, I am gonna go ahead and finish pinning it, and I'll be right back. Alright, now I have pinned all the way around, and see how it kind of flattens out when you pin it down. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this, and then we'll worry about this next part. We'll be right back. Alright, when you get the whole thing pinned, and you can see I've got lots of pins, I like to put them about an inch apart. I am an overpinner, but it keeps it from being, like I said, wrinkled and whatever. Go ahead and sew along the line between the bubbles and fabric here. And I choose not to backstitch at the beginning. You can, I just go around a little extra at the end. So and go slowly, because you might have to. I put ribbons in here. I'm gonna have to make sure these are down. You're gonna have to make sure that your poofs are down, and just continue to sew all the way around that. Alright, and then when you get to the corner, just lift your foot, leave the needle down, and twist your whole quilt, and then continue sewing right on that line. I've done the sewing around the edges. You can see I used blue because it doesn't really matter, I guess. And I got that all the way around. Now I'm going to flip it over. And what I like to do on this part, I like to use this basting spray. It kind of keeps it down there a little better. And I do pin it somewhat, but I do like to use the basting spray because it makes it a little easier. Just spray a little spritz on, that's fine. And then just kind of, you know, smooth out your fabric. Smooth it out as you go. Alrighty. Might not be perfect, but that is okay because I said so. Alright, and after you get the basting spray on, go ahead and pin it all the way around. You don't have to be quite as obsessive now because you don't have these heavy bubbles pulling on it, but yeah, I'm still kind of obsessive with the pins. One thing I forgot to mention about the pinning is that when you do pin, what I like to do is I like to start in the middle, and then I make sure it's all flattened out, and then I go to one edge, and then I go to the opposite edge, like this, and then I just go to the middle of that, and then I go to the middle of that. That way, in case there are any uneven spots, it won't be one huge, you know, loop over, like this at the end. It'll be little tiny, mostly, hopefully unnoticeable little loopies, little wrinkles throughout the whole edge. And since we're going to bind it, it doesn't really matter. But if there's a big, you know, a big wrinkle in the end, that's when it's really going to matter. Alright, so I'm going to show you again what I was just talking about. With the pinning, you couldn't really see it very well that last time, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I pin it in the middle and etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the middle, well, you just eyeball it, the middle of the thing, and then head down to the end here, where I've already basted and sprayed it with basting spray. Pin it here, and you see it doesn't quite match up. That was my fault. I'm going to cut it in a minute, but it's okay. Then, between the end and the middle here, I'm going to put a pin in the middle again, and then in the center between these two I'm going to put a pin, and the center between these two I'm going to put a pin, and then I'm going to put a pin in the center of all of these, and just basically just have it, once it gets smaller, I'll put 2 pins in because I like them about 1 inch apart. See, and just make it smaller and smaller, starting with the big, and then over on this side, I already have one in the middle. I'm going to put one in the end. Put one in the middle between that, and just etc. etc. The final part is just putting the binding on there. You can make your own binding, but I'm just going to cheat and use store-bought. Just go ahead. What I like to do is just fold it over the first part, fold it over like that so it doesn't fray, and then start putting it on like you would any old blanket. Of course, I like to over pin it all the way around, and after I over pin it, I'll go ahead and sew it. I don't like to not pin it. I like to pin it. It works much better.